Oh, we should introduce Fluff to Megan.
Guys.
Megan.
Oh, you don't know this, Megan. I'm sorry.
I'm like, I don't even know if I know a Megan.
She was doing promo stuff, promo shoots for her massage business.
That's fun.
So that was really fun. It was actually really nice. It was a nice deep tissue massage.
I was gonna say, did she hook you up with a massage?
Yeah, basically got a free hour long.
He was the model.
I was the model.
Oh, damn.
Fuck.
So your boy's moving up in life. Sorry, shit's really taking off for me. I know we started this journey together, and I know you two have been here in my corner, but honestly, I feel like I'm just outgrowing you guys. So,
You know, I mean, given the first episode and the first things that was said in the first, I can't be surprised.
speaking of the first episode and that shit, that's the TikTok I made today.
Oh, nice.
Fucking cut that shit out for the fucking TikTok. Oh man.
You said this, you go. But I'm sure we'll make it without you.
Yep. I am. I'm not gonna promise to stay in touch. I think that's just unrealistic. I think that's just
You know what? Fuck you guys. Actually,
I'm just new. I'm in upper echelons now, man. Like I gotta make new friends, and
I've been using this friendship to prop up my mental health, and now that I got money, I can afford a therapist.
now that I've stepped on your necks, you really don't serve any purpose for me now. Anywho, yeah. Huh.
We should have done this at the end of the recording.
I really should have.
Are we still doing it? I mean,
Still doing what?
You basically just burned all your bridges.
I really did. But I'm also not putting myself.
Actually, I don't know. I'm here tomorrow.
Oh, hold on. Because now I put myself in a position where I'm their in now. So their best bet is to come sucking up to me.
All right, I'll suckle your teat.
Thank you.
Fine. I got it first. I got the right nipple.
Give me them lips, boy.
Them lips, boy. Holy fuck. Episode 12.
12.
I'm just peeing a sucker.
Okay, what I heard
Yeah.
was I'm just peeing a sitcom.
That's not what he said.
I'm sure that's not what he said. That's why I very specifically said that's what I heard.
I'm just singing a parody of a parody.
Okay.
So you know, Pete, what's his face?
Pete Davidson?
Pete Davidson did a parody on SNL.
Of course he did.
I'm just Ken. The best line, I'm sure you probably heard it by now, is I'm just Pete and I like drugs.
Yeah.
I'm mentally ill and I'm on
Mentally
drugs.
ill and I'm on drugs.
Yeah. And so I was just
I had
sitting
no
there.
idea that was from a parody of.
He was.
I had no idea.
It's the only part of it worth seeing.
Fair enough.
But the I was just singing to myself while you were talking, and then it got drawn attention to, so now we're here.
This is true. This is true.
Mm-hmm. But we back.
We are here. How are y'all doing?
I am tired and sore. I am doing pretty well.
It's good. Good to hear.
Those are all symptoms of doing well.
It's called having an active gym lifestyle. Something I continue to actively avoid, even though I know I shouldn't. But that's okay. I got my disc golf and my other small workouts. So I'm debating here, and because my tablet wasn't on when I thought it was, the debate was, do I want to start with what's on screen right now or Reddit? Fun little Reddit question that came up. Mm-hmm. And while I wait for this to come up, we're actually going to start with this because this is kind of a continuation of a rant from last week. Something I was saying about, funny enough, it actually leads into Quora because this came from Quora. This is a screenshot from one of my Quora things. And it was a rant, a little mini rant I kind of got into about like how D&D is just a game of make-believe. So the question was, Why is the Tarrasque often disliked as an encounter in D&D games? Is it because it is considered to be a super overpowered monster capable of destroying cities? The answer is, there is no real reason for a Tarrasque to exist. A legendary monster that appears out of nowhere for no reason, causes massive destruction until it is killed by a party of heroes. No one can remember when the last one showed up. How does a DM work that into a story? Hey guys, you are super powered. Says Supper. You are super powered now, able to defeat any of the monsters in the book. So let me pull a big bad monster out of my butt just to mess with you a bit before we are done. I mean, what does a big mindless brute do for 1,000 years while hibernating? And what prompts it to emerge and start chewing up the scenery? The way the monster is described, it is impossible to make an encounter with a Tarrasque a random encounter. A Tarrasque would only make sense as a specific tool conjured into existence by a superpower evildoer who would be the real bad guy the party will need to defeat. So,
I'll give you one free one. Go watch Godzilla.
There it is.
They just come from a place from under the ocean. So, okay, you're getting to a heart of what my big issue with this kind of question and these kind of answers on Quora is, right? Mm-hmm. And it's the reason, like last week, I was like, the thing I don't understand that people don't like, I don't get people's confusion on how this shit works because it's quite literally a game of make believe. Mm-hmm. This person, so it's not even the question asker who's the issue here, is where I take umbrage with. It's the person who answers. And where they seem to have like a real big problem with the Tarrasque, as it seems like such a weirdly, like it seems like it's according to them, it's hard to make sense of how to drop this thing into the world, and it not be like the main problem. And if I had the gumption to, I would answer to this answerer. A Tarrasque doesn't exist.
Period.
Just because the book describes a Tarrasque this way does not mean the Tarrasque has to exist that way in your story if you want it in there. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Like the
first rule of D&D is you could change any rules at any time.
You could quite literally to the point, there's very few, they're called guidebooks. They're not rule books. Mm-hmm. They don't label themselves as rule. I want to say Gary Gygax is on record and as he he explains where all this shit came from, how D&D came about. The entire point is that it's just someone's campaign setting that they decided to put to paper so that they could reference it when they needed to because it can make sense in their world. Mm-hmm. This kind of stuff is one of my favorite quotes, and I'm trying to remember who said it, but I can't remember right now. But it might come to me while I'm speaking. It was some either screenwriter or comedian or something. And they were talking about, they asked, their dad asked them, how do you kill a vampire? He lists off the reasons, the ways, stake to the heart, garlic, silver, sunlight, holy water. And the dad replies, no, you kill a vampire any way you fucking want to because vampires don't exist. These things they don't actually exist. Even if we were talking a real world creature, that real world creature within the confines of your own story doesn't have to exist. It doesn't have to make sense to any kind of real world equivalent or any other story or world of creation. It just needs to make sense within your world. I hate when people say these things don't make sense. I'm like, of course they don't make sense. They're not supposed to make sense. Mm-hmm. You make sense out of them. They just take whatever sense you make of them.
Yeah, you got to do what you want.
What you want.
I feel that a lot of times, it this person who's answering this question, it seems like they're trying to make logic of a lot of things that they do when they're DMing or whatever, trying to make sense of everything as to where, again, a lot of times half of the fun is not worrying about trying to make sense of everything.
Exactly. Right.
This happens.
The Tarrasque is here.
Happens.
The Tarrasque is here because it's fucking cool.
Maybe you can have some kind of thing in the background, story for it, but you don't have to have this came from. It doesn't have to have a whole backstory. It doesn't have to
Right.
be Naruto. Okay,
Right.
not every character has to have a backstory, or One Piece. Not every character has to have, or every event has to have a whole backstory of like cursor events or precursor life-changing moments or whatever to make it a thing that you're putting in the story now. Like it can just be there. Just to be there.
It can. It really can. And even if you want a story behind it, it doesn't have to be by the book. Like
yeah. I mean, it could be an ancient thought to be unkillable beast sealed in a tomb, unleashed by a betrayer god. It could be the tool of an alien race that's invading your Earth. That's trying to take shit over. It could
Write this down.
it could be like a fucking like cult of wizards accidentally summoning the wrong thing or mutating something into something else that happens to become something that is very similar to a Tarrasque. Like
it could be you could give your party a pet T-Rex at the beginning of the campaign.
Right.
And then some shenanigans happen.
Right.
And oh no, now you gotta kill Teddy. Like Dingo Doodles actually had, I think. Do you guys watch Dingo Doodles?
I don't think I have.
They do a drawing like series of their home campaign. They did a pretty good job, and the story is pretty fucking dope.
Nice.
But one of they had a Tarrasque event when they were underleveled for it because there was a wild magic surge that created an anti-magic field that accidentally unsealed a Tarrasque that was sealed beneath a town. They were never supposed to interact with that. Nope. But shenanigans happened, and then they had to work with like some high-powered NPCs to get rid of that shit.
You're welcome. Don't worry about it.
Okay.
Having a conversation with myself, okay.
Good for you.
Thank you.
But yeah, you could literally do whatever the fuck you want. I actually was gonna say that the reason I don't like Tarrasques is just because of the opposite reason.
Why?
Because they're kind of a letdown.
How so?
I remember we did a level 20 campaign or one shot with Devin. I took out half of the Tarrasque's health on my first turn.
I heard that he wasn't playing the Tarrasque right.
He wasn't doing that right, and I wasn't playing my fighter correctly either.
It's kind of the problem with dropping level 20 characters in the hands of
somebody who wasn't super experienced. I gave them 2 fighter subclasses at the same time, which they were not supposed to have. But well, because it says at a certain level that you get like another one. It was unclear to me what exactly that meant, and so I was
it supposed to be you're allowed to switch your subclass?
I don't know. I actually
fair
have
enough.
to go and review, but
Even then, in that scenario, I think that half of, at least a lot of that could also just be
I just used it to make sure that I was able to hit that first round.
That's fair.
Well, yeah, like a lot of that could also be attributed to how powerful the Tarrasque was.
Right.
That was made. Like if any character is able to knock, even if they are overpowered, half health from a Tarrasque, I feel like that's kind of a design error or issue.
So here's, like, it's funny because we just actually watched a video earlier today. Before you got here, you were still in your office, but we watched Adventuring Academy Office Hours with Brendan Lee Mulligan, and someone had asked the question, how does he use challenge rating when setting up an encounter? And one of the first things he said was, challenge ratings are really not that good of an indicator to go off of for your monster, because he actually finds, especially in 5th edition, that a lot of the challenge ratings are actually woefully under-leveled for what you're expecting them to do. So like he was like, I set up by challenge rating, he was setting up encounters that were supposed to be deadly that were getting steamrolled by his PCs. Like just challenge ratings just aren't going to be a great indicator for how difficult the fight is going to be. Yeah. And the other part, Izzy kind of got to this, is, and you were starting to touch on this, is it doesn't matter the creature you set up, no matter how powerful they are, if you don't understand how to design a combat encounter. That's something I started learning after doing that the first campaign. And it's like, okay, when you set up a combat encounter, you have to like kind of have a good like handle on your party, what they can do, their individual strengths, their combined strengths, their terrain that they're fighting in, the any other advantages they may or may not have. And you can wind up in a situation where you just set it up so that something that should be technically very difficult is easily steamrolled because you just didn't think about the party. If you're just dropping a monster in because the book says it's supposed to be a certain level, that's not going to do you any good.
Yeah.
I could very much imagine a Tarrasque, one of the strongest creatures in the strongest creature in 5e, isn't it?
It's supposed to be.
It's supposed to be.
A lot of people are disappointed with it.
And it was like, I can imagine
it was
that
much more beefy in previous editions.
Okay. Like I can very much see where if you drop it in just as the book describes it, that yeah, of course that's going to be a fucking letdown, especially for a party of level 20 characters. Which, by the way, if you are ever trying to get anyone into D&D or you're doing like your first thing, you just want to see what high level play is, don't do level 20. That's too much for anyone who's not used to it. I would heavily recommend like level 6 or some shit, like level 5 or level 6. Like when each subclass is just starting to get their really good shit.
Starting to get your meat.
Yeah.
And your potatoes.
You get the shit that like makes your subclass like individualized and cool versus, but neither here nor there. But I can very much see someone who doesn't know how to set up combat encounters like making the Tarrasques. And then I'm sure there is, when you look at the book and
can
versus
happen as well. Like there are some CR1 or CR1 quarter like things there that are glass cannons or have a particular mechanic that makes them really nasty.
Yeah.
I'm struggling to pull any specific examples off the top of my head, but you know, I watch those little shorts all the time. I see things that people are like, I love to throw this at my characters when they're getting cocky.
Yeah.
It's doable, but it's nasty.
Well, to pull another example from the videos we were watching earlier, Brendan talked about how sometimes, and granted, this got more into the conversation about like random encounters and why he doesn't really like to do like roll an encounter for every hour type shit. He was like, sometimes that creates a situation where your your party randomly fighting like a bunch of wolves ends up being a more difficult fight than the boss you had prepared because like just circumstances can be so much different. And
I can think of an example from Baldur's Gate where I was fighting these ghouls and these death things, and I had just come from like a pretty beefy area, and I basically walked through it. And I met this basically group on the side of the road and had a really fucking hard time against them because they had these two big boys, right? And these big boys could resurrect all of these little gremlins, So typically, you know, the best strategy is you knock out as many things as you can as quickly as you can, and then you focus on the big boys, right? Or at least you split it up, because otherwise you're taking a lot more damage every single round, because every single attack is an opportunity to lose hit points, right? And so your first priority should have less opportunities to attack you than you know, maybe taking out the big boys. But I had to focus on my thick chicks.
This is natural,
This is natural and proper. I don't actually that. I take it back.
Come on, you can do it. You can do it. Focusing on the big boys who can resurrect.
And so I just had to sit there. They could also paralyze you. So,
that's great.
Bad combo.
So it was this wombo combo of like sending my fighters in, and then, you know, doing some really good damage for maybe like a round, maybe two, and then they get paralyzed.
Damn.
And then everything has advantage on them, and then everything's and I'm sitting there like, heal. Let me do 5 damage to that big boy. Heal.
Jesus.
Heal. I was like, I'm gonna lose this like 3 times. We made it out though.
Nice.
Right. But yeah, no, that's a fuck those bitches.
I get the strong feeling Fluff has lost the plot.
I did.
Yeah,
I've gone on an ADHD tangent.
But it was to show combat rating. A combat that was more difficult than like what's supposed to be the main threat. But still, it's like you gotta have like your own creativity and know how to like make your own story. Otherwise, of course, you're gonna get lost in the fucking weeds. But
Yeah. I'm like I said last week, I always love hitting players where they're weak and where they're strong.
Mm-hmm.
Like, or making the real nasty thing to do
Mm-hmm.
is to take somewhere where a player is strong and have a mechanic that makes it weak.
Fair.
That's the real nasty thing to do.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Makes it interesting, honestly, I think.
Well, because then you have to problem solve without what you are used to being your like core strength.
Mm-hmm.
But
You got to use your brain a little bit more.
yeah, that's because I like numbers and mechanics and systems and playing with that shit. So,
But yeah, that was just an example of the gripe I had last week. That was a really good one to just kind of go over. But yeah, I think next thing we're gonna get into is Reddit here. I'm just gonna take a quick sec to pull that up.
One other thing you could do with it is instead of trying to make the story fit around the Tarrasque, you could just make the Tarrasque into something that fits in your story.
Exactly. Like,
yeah,
that's a really cool thing that once again Dimension 20 does is with their more like homebrewed settings, they take these things and just kind of fit them in where they fit in instead of trying to stay super true. But
I mean, you could just reskin it as like a giant octopus or something.
exactly.
Yeah.
Bye.
Cuts right back.
Sweet. All right. This is another AskReddit. What was the worst / craziest thing you saw at a stag / bachelorette party? A stag party being a bachelor party.
yeah.
Stag doos, hen doos is in like chicken hen. It's like the British way of calling it. So what's the craziest thing you saw at a bachelor or bachelorette party? Once again, like as always, these are pretty wild. All right. Downtown Nashville, there were 2 bachelorette parties in the same bar that was on the smaller side compared to others. Both brides were blonde Barbies and wearing next to nothing, as was their wedding parties. Both parties were dancing in front of the stage, and one of the bridesmaids from party A fell into the bride of party B. Next thing you know, the bride of party B smacks the girl who bumped into her across the face and throws her drinks on her. Next thing you know, there is a full-on, I don't know what a Donnybrook is, but I'm assuming it means brawl. A full-on Donnybrook going on with 12 to 14 girls fighting in front of the stage, complete with hair pulling, slapping, hitting, tops getting torn off, drinks getting thrown, as well as shoes. The bouncer was doing the best he can, but couldn't control the chaos, and most of the patrons made their way away from the mess. 2 members of the band stopped playing and tried to break it up. It took a while, before things died down, but the best part was that the lead guitarist kept playing and whipped up Van Halen's Eruption while the fight was happening.
Wow.
Oh my god.
Oh, man.
That's great. Oh my god.
Fucking insane.
Yeah.
Oh, man. Somebody was like, not gonna lie, it sounds pretty dope to be in a fight with Eruption playing in the background. The person who wrote that comment goes, I asked the guitarist after the set why he didn't get involved, and he was like, yeah, fuck that shit, man. I ain't getting beat up for no good reason, so I figured I'd add to the experience. It was pretty cool. Oh, fuck.
Love that for them. That's awesome. That's hilarious.
It's fucking great. The Bachelorette party took place at a sports club where football games were being broadcast on television. They invited a stripper to perform, and among other typical Bachelorette fare, they had squirty cream, a bride eating a banana out of his panties, and so on. But during the entire thing, an elderly man was sitting on a bar stool and watching the football. He was too obstinate to move, having been there before they arrived. He is standing about a foot away from the soiled male stripper with his pint, his eyes fixated on the screen and still. Oh, wow.
Just refusing.
Just refusing to leave. Like, there is a stripper in nothing but his skeevies, like covered in whipped cream, with like girls like just screaming and fawning all over him, and like this 73-year-old dude is just sitting at the bar, staring intently at the screen, trying to ignore what's going on.
Now we're assuming he's ignoring, but he's 73. What if he just doesn't even know?
He's completely unaware of the bachelorette party going on 10 feet to his left.
All he's focused in on is the game. That's all that matters to him. And maybe that's all his brain is processing.
As it turns out, he's autistic.
Me reading comment.
Yeah.
Yep. Missing the flight.
Holy fuck.
Imagine when your hearing aid is turned off.
Yeah. See?
Turn your mic off.
Ah, fuck.
This one is one of those that's going to make you worry about how people think. Got a text to come to the bridge. Got there, saw a group of guys singing and holding bottles of whiskey or vodka floating down the river on a couch that was strapped to barrels, followed by two guys, one wearing a dress on a matching love set. Turns out they knew the bride-to-be didn't like the groom-to-be's furniture. It was exceptionally secondhand, so they raided his place and emptied it of everything she didn't like as a pre-wedding present, so when she moved in, it would be ready for her to fill it with the right stuff. Turns out that filling the river with garbage is not legal. A few days later, they were there digging stuff out with police supervision. And it also turns out that new furniture and kitchenware is expensive. The bride was not happy. Where in the thought process was, she doesn't like the furniture. You know what? We'll get rid of it for her. Yeah.
Let's get it out of here.
We'll get it out of here.
Everything away.
We'll throw everything away. I was like, did you just leave this man with an empty apartment?
Well, it's that, but then it's also the idea to throw it in the lake or river and not
only throw it in the river, to fucking ride the river. Like
ride the rapids.
Ride these rapids. And then not clean it up. Like, I want to just know, like, it's clearly alcohol had to be involved the whole time, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, there's no way it wasn't. Otherwise, these guys are just dumb.
Probably a little B. I mean, people dump shit in rivers all the time that they shouldn't, because it washes it away and it goes away.
Once it's out of sight, it's out of mind. Am I right?
But like a whole ass couch, though? Like furniture, like,
right?
Like I can see maybe like a few water bottles or something, maybe a bag, but like a love seat.
Not just a love seat. A love seat constructed into a raft.
Yeah.
Like gosh.
A couch and a love seat, by the way.
Yeah, no, that's too obvious. That's too noticeable.
That had to be like a fucking, I don't know.
I don't think they were fucking.
I mean, they could have been. It was a bachelor.
It is possible. You never know.
It's possible.
It is possible.
But no, I've never been, I guess part of a wedding, so I wouldn't know.
Well, you're about to find out soon.
But I'm about to find out soon. Exactly. But no, it's like I don't have my own experience to draw off at all. It's really just been like videos that,
Yeah, I've only been a part of one bachelor party. And it honestly was pretty tame. I imagine like a lot of these stories are
just the
extreme shit, right? When the question is literally what's the craziest like bachelorette party you got, stories you got.
I'm sure there are like probably people who are searching. You don't want to
just like throw shit in the river, get drunk, and then start a cat fight on your bachelor party?
That sounds pretty awesome.
Yeah.
Just drinks and titties everywhere. The groom was absolutely piss drunk.
Sorry.
The groom was absolutely piss drunk, and we were walking to the next spot. He approaches a lady and says, "Oh my God, your dog is so beautiful, and so are you. Can I get your number?" And she says, "Yeah." But before she finishes, he goes, "Psych, I'm getting married." and starts sprinting down the street and jumped another person in the party. Just took off giggling. That is
wow.
That is shockingly wholesome.
That's funny as hell.
Yeah, no, that's great.
Psych, I'm getting married.
Psych, that's the wrong
number. Oh man. Here's one I haven't even read yet before, so we're going to do a live react to this one. So I, and he puts in parentheticals British, have always been mocked by my friend group for being posh. So much so that to my stag, my friends came to my door dressed as royal guards and thrust upon me a Queen Elizabeth II fancy dress outfit. We then proceeded around London on a royal sounding pub crawl. It was a phenomenal day.
That sounds amazing.
That sounds amazing.
That's fucking legendary.
That sounds absolutely fantastic. It was a phenomenal day. Tourists and locals were mostly finding it hilarious. Everyone was asking for pictures. We were so popular at the Buckingham Palace gates. I've even got a picture of us all with a couple of armed police officers. This was September 2022. I'll let you guess what the breaking news that afternoon was. I'll let you guess what the breaking news that afternoon was. Whilst I was significantly drunk in central London dressed as Her Majesty, that day did not end well. No.
Well, the second bachelor party has hit the pubs.
Oh my God. Like, I didn't even see this one when I first pulled this thread up, and I'm so glad. So glad I came down and read it.
Fucking crazy.
Oh,
My bachelor party on fucking 9/11.
Oh my!
It is what
it is, boy. Oh man,
unfortunate.
Here's gonna be a downer.
Better than being born
on 9/11.
Yeah.
Yeah. Imagine on your birthday, the whole country takes a moment of fucking silence. Whew. Oh man. Here's a sad one though. This one is horribly sad. When I was a kid, my uncle was one of a group of 5 inseparable guys. They were always together and always doing dumb but harmless shit, all from the same small town. One guy gets married and they have a big bachelor party at a cabin in the woods. Just a safe place to get shit-faced and do nothing that will end the marriage before it starts. Mm-hmm. Groom wakes up at like 4:30 and decides to head home early, but his car is blocked in by his buddy's car. So he leaves buddy a note and takes the buddy's car. So you're blocking my car in. I leave you a note. Hey, I'm going to take your car. You take mine back home, whatever. Mm-hmm. Right? Mm. Buddy's wallet is in the car. Important detail. Groom tries to pass a couple cars, and the front car he is passing speeds up and won't let him pass. Another car is coming opposite way, and the car refuses to let him over. Speeds up and slows down a couple times, and the groom ends up in a collision that kills him. Cops only find the wallet that was left in the car by car owner and go notify the wrong kid's parents that their kid is dead. Parents go to identify the body and realize it's not their kid, but is the groom. Eventually, the groom's parents sue the car owner because he left the keys in his car and that allowed their son, the groom, to drive while still impaired. By the time all is said and done, several families who had been friends for years were mortal enemies who hated one another. They never located the driver who refused to be passed, but the car behind him stopped and is who called the cops and said it was 100% intentional. The guy refused to let the car in for several seconds and it was dark and there was a steep ditch on the other side, and so the groom just seemed to have panicked. That shit was sad for years. I grew up knowing all the families. The groom was one of the guys who taught me to play football and the car owner taught me to ride a motorcycle. All the families lived within a few miles of each other in a town where the high school's graduating classes were usually 20 to 25 people.
Damn.
Yeah. It's like that.
That's fucking rough.
That is rough. The fucked up part being
that the guy who killed the guy just got away with that.
Well, there's that, which is like fucked up. Which, like, if that head-on collision was enough to kill one guy, that other, I can't imagine the person who got in the crash with him too was doing okay. But even more so than that, to sue the person who had no agency over what your son did. Mm-hmm. Oh, you left, like, your son was bent on leaving that party. He had got up and was ready to leave. It was just the luck of the draw that this friend's car happened to be the one in front of his. If he had decided to just move the car and leave, like what was going to happen? Mm-hmm. Like that. That's fucking rough.
Yeah, I can't imagine.
And have to deal with that kind of survivor's guilt, and I'm sure they're beating themselves up. And then for that to like just cause a whole rift amongst everybody, that fucking sucks, man.
Yeah.
So on that somber note,
well, Kenton, I know what I'm getting you for your bachelor party.
Wait.
cabin in the woods, bro.
I'm gonna say confusion.
I guess confusion. Man. So yeah, on that somber note,
Yeah.
do you want to do Quora or Instagram first?
I mean, we've been on the Quora.
You are
and Reddit, bit for a minute. We may as well just finish it out here with some Quora questions that popped up on my phone screen this week.
I hate already.
Yeah, I just figured that this would be a weekly segment because I get new ones that
I'm
refresh
down.
every week on my lock screen. That I'm like, okay, I got a screenshot.
Mhm.
But these are just two more that popped up yesterday that were different than the whole screenshot of them.
I like this question. I'm interested in this one.
Yeah, this one says, are you disappointed with how your children turned out?
Like, honestly,
Yeah.
I'd actually...
Wait a minute. Hold up. Wait
I'd be down to actually read through that one and see what people are saying. But the second one, though.
Oh, yeah, no, I can open up that one and read it. I haven't opened up any of these. Let's see. Are you disappointed with how your children turned out? Let's see. I think this one is an answer. Yeah, this is just the first one that popped up for me, the answer. So this one says, my son came this morning from a night shift to bring some essentials for me. He had dark circles under his eyes. I thought it's because of 7 days of night shifts in a row, but he told me he couldn't sleep for the last 2 days. Even he was very tired. He told me why. 35-year-old patient was irresponsive 10 minutes after a regular checkup. My son jumped to heart. I don't know. The sentence structure on this is weird.
That's always the fun grab bag of these kind of things.
My son jumped to heart massage straight away and called for help. After a long battle, the patient
His son started doing CPR.
Yeah.
Oh,
After a long battle, the patient was pronounced brain dead. My son said, Mom, he was less than 10 years older than me and has a young kid at home. The way my son reacted to death of a stranger told me everything. My child turned out as a good human. Oh.
Okay,
that was wholesome.
Eventually. That was wholesome. I mean, as wholesome as
your son having to process
having a traumatic experience can be.
Oh, baby, you're traumatized. I'm so proud of you.
One of them says, again, the question was, are you disappointed with how your children turned out? One of them says, I don't think so. Speaking as a child, I survived a life-threatening illness as a baby. It left me disabled. I went to school, college, and worked for 30 years, retired early, then took care of my parents until their passing. I'd like to think I did everything they taught me.
I would hope so.
Yeah.
Where's the juicy shit?
I know. I think some of these answers, at least on Quora, they're not as crazy. Like even this question, the way the question is worded, it's kind of a more like well thought out question where it's like you're probably going to get more actual answers. Right. Nice.
It implies like it's more serious tone.
Well, there are very few parents that are genuinely disappointed in how their kids turned out.
True.
And I think there are even fewer that would be willing to admit it, because if you admit it, you also have to think about how that reflects back on you as the parent.
As the parent. Like, where'd you go wrong, homie? Which I said this in the thread actually, because there's a similar question like this came up on an AskReddit. This had to be like 2 some odd years ago. Where it was, I think it was something along the lines of like, what has your child done that made you realize you failed as a parent or something like that? Or was something your child did that just what did your child do to make you disown them? It was something along the lines of like, why? But there was like a lot of parents, and it was much more direct about like problem children, where this one was like, it's more of a question of, are you disappointed than all that?
When I say fuck at home.
Damn. Damn.
I only say that because my dad makes like backhanded comments about it every once in a while.
Really?
Yes.
But yeah,
my parents too. But I want to see this boss one.
Yeah, I was just about to read that.
Got it. Sweet.
Yeah, I'm about to pull this one up. So this one says, my boss purposely makes all interview candidates wait 1 hour past the scheduled interview time. This is their filtering method, as they refuse to consider anyone who leaves during the 1+ hour wait. Is this legal?
I think so.
Legal, probably. Ethical.
No.
Right.
Honestly, that's a great way to filter out that workplace.
It's a great way to run your business into the fucking ground.
Right.
It's a fucking fantastic way to miss out on the best employees you can have.
Because honestly, most of the best employees are going to be valuable enough that they're not going to put up with that shit.
Exactly.
Does that mean that I can be late to work by 1 hour every day?
Well, that's the problem, though.
I do it.
This motherfucker, yeah. Yeah, of course.
Well, that's the problem. Like the whole interview thing is going to be an hour after it starts. But then the moment you get hired, and like the moment you get hired, it's like if you're 1 minute late, you're instantly fired. And then it's
Which
like,
I can absolutely tell you. I can absolutely, like, I would bet my next paycheck that is absolutely how that boss operates, or at least his managing staff. And it's like, you do this, you play this stupid ass game of how loyal are you to the company? Like, are you loyal? Like, are you loyal enough to this company you don't get paid by right now to waste another hour of your fucking day, regardless of how busy you are? Like, and if they want you to be that loyal, they're absolutely going to fuck you over every chance they get.
Yeah, exactly. Well, and also hypothetically, that's so disrespectful of people's like lives and what they have going on. What if that's a single mom who has to pick her kid up from daycare?
Right.
Like, what the fuck are you doing?
Exactly. Like, that's, like Fluff said, illegal, probably not. Ethical, hell the fuck no. Like, and I hope whoever asked that question gets the fuck out of there soon.
yeah.
Because holy shit.
I wonder, did he have to do the same thing?
I'm curious. Yeah.
Because like, unless that was something that they recently just started doing at their job or the OP's job,
Right.
I don't know.
Is there any answers to it?
Yeah, so the first answer here says, as someone who has been on both sides of the hiring table, well, I think this is a great strategy.
As someone who's been on both sides of the hiring table, I think it's a terrible strategy.
Keep going.
I was going to say,
Because they're going to say some stupid shit in a second, I bet.
I was going to say, maybe we should let him cook a little bit. Wait a minute. As an applicant, I might not be able to find out the boss is a lunatic until after I've been hired. That's inefficient. There it is.
There it
Let
is.
him cook. Let him cook. Making me wait for an hour. I would have left prior to the hour unless I'd gotten a great excuse, possibly even then. Gives me that vulnerable information on the front end. As a hiring manager, this seems like something that would make me, a person who is normal and punctual, seem like a better option for someone I want to hire. So my rivals are welcome to adopt this.
Fair enough.
An interview is a two-way information gathering process. Always remember.
They got me in the first half, not going to lie.
I was like, wait, hold up. Wait a minute.
Here.
I think everybody should do this because it would make my life much easier.
Yeah. Yeah.
Have them come to me then. You
Let
know,
them-
I'll start that interview right off.
Let these bosses run their fucking businesses out of competition. Like, all right, yeah, you know what? Yeah. If you think this is a good idea and a good way to hire potential candidates, you go right ahead and do it. Oh my fucking Lord. It's like,
I would love to see numbers on how many people wait that hour.
so would I.
Yeah.
I'm curious what the place is. Like, was there anything in there that show, does the OP ever come back and say what they do?
Is there an easy way to even?
No.
Then no.
That kind of stuff.
No, you just have to look at the username and hope it's the OP. But no, it's the same shit with like when
You try searching the page.
you could try searching the page, but on mobile that's kind of an annoyance.
Google, it's not that bad.
Oh yeah.
Just literally hit the three dots so you hit find a page. Anyways,
Fair. It's the same thing with like people's like dating profile pictures, profiles where it's like they just have like the most off the wall, goofy, like unhinged demands and shit. And it's like, so glad you advertise your red flags at the beginning. So then I can just avoid you at all costs.
Right. Swipe left.
Swiping left on that. Do hotel maids ever sleep with a person staying at the hotel? Yeah, probably.
Depends on the hotel.
Hey. Just trying to say for tourists. That's a fair question. I interviewed for a position 2 weeks ago and was ultimately notified that they were moving forward with a different candidate. I noticed that they had reposted the same job posting, and I'm sure that's going to go on to say,
reapply.
Yeah.
I mean, if they really want it,
Gonna let you get your thought out first before we move on to that next one.
I saw the gears turning as you read that question.
Well, we can't see the rest of that last question anyway. What if I wear a diaper at school?
I mean, nobody's gonna know unless you say something.
Or depending on the kind of diaper you put on, because
I'm gonna open that one because
do you still got it?
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
I realize that I can click it as long as I don't touch it. When it comes up on my lock screen, it will come back.
Oh, okay.
And I can click on one and it's fine. That one just disappears from my lock screen.
Fair enough.
So, let's see. Okay, here we go. What if I wear a diaper at school? Okay, here's one of the answers. As a 7th grader, I often wore diapers to school under my street clothes. Some of the 8th graders suspected I was wearing something and decided to confront me. I was de-pantsed on the playground, exposing my diapers. Pants were tossed in the school's dumpster, where I had to dig them out while nearly the whole school watched. Bell rang and I had to get in line, we all did, at the door, stumbling about trying to get back into my pants. Got to my room half dressed. Teacher was not sympathetic. My diapers were too much of a disruption, and I spent the afternoon out in the hall. Was the school's laughing boy for months. That was an answer. I'm
going to assume incontinence. That
I'm
or
constantly incontinent.
I'm going to assume incontinent. Like, that's so fucked up, though.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that's terrible. This teacher's reaction is the worst.
The teacher's reaction is like, what's the
I
fucked up
expect
part?
that shit from kids.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Right? Kids fucking suck. But
like, was the teacher told what happened, really? Or just like...
Probably just didn't fucking care.
Didn't care?
Also seems like something that would happen in the 80s.
Yeah.
Like you never know with authority figures how they're going to respond to stuff like that. Like just because that kid legitimately needs that doesn't mean that somebody's going to be accepting of.
We assume they legitimately need it.
Like
they never explain why they needed it.
You know, even if they fucking don't,
right?
It's a fucking like
at the end of the fucking day, right? It's too much of a disruption. It's like it was just.
It's really throwing the baby out with the bathwater. That's, you know, if they die in a car crash on the way back from their bachelor party, I wouldn't be upset.
Jesus, Fluff. Good God, bro.
Bruh.
And if the family's sued and it ripped the whole town apart.
You know what? Honestly, kind of deserve it.
No, I will say that answer came from somebody who is now retired in like 1985 to, you know, last year. So like, yeah, it was
okay.
Like,
yeah, that was fucking
years.
They retired in 85?
No. Like they're former retired. I don't know. They're probably old.
They're old. They're old as shit.
Old. So yeah, interesting.
Damn, how they using Quora? That's crazy.
Yeah.
Actually, honestly, makes sense. More related to why is it not possible to lose weight by just not eating Ken? Have you been searching up things?
Yeah, a little bit, you know.
Yeah, fair.
Kenton,
it is possible.
Please don't develop an eating disorder.
Please don't develop.
Well, no, I'm just like, so what I do when I work, right, is I just zone in, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I like skip breakfast sometimes, lunch a lot of times, and then it's like, okay, dinner. I'll just eat dinner.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, actually, is that like, maybe not that exactly, but is there like a viable way to lose weight just by eating like one meal a day or
it's
something?
called OMAD. It's a form of intermittent fasting.
Yeah.
Right.
But it still requires like a balanced understanding of what you eat and how you eat. just eating a gigantic, like a non-balanced, like nutritionally balanced meal at the end of the day can do just as much harm as overeating the whole day.
It's also my understanding that if you just eat one meal at the end of the day,
especially right before you go to bed,
so your body is constantly burning calories, right? And if you eat at the beginning of the day, you jumpstart your metabolism, you start your body burning calories, right? You start that metabolic process. But if you starve yourself all day long, you don't start that process, so you don't get that background burn. And two, your body then, when you do get food, caches it for the next time you starve yourself.
Yeah.
So if you want to look into something like intermittent fasting, I've seen it work. I've seen people have really good results with it. But yeah,
when I did intermittent fasting, it was really good results. You still do intermittent fasting, don't you?
Sort of. I do like it's like a 8-hour window. So like,
yeah,
if you start eating at 12, then you can eat all day until
8 o'clock.
8 o'clock. Yeah. So, but
is that like light snacking at that point, or is it like a meal?
I usually just do lunch and dinner, basically.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's basically you have a period to get your calories in, and then a period in which you stop, and it's a viable dieting strategy. I've used it to success at one point. I'm trying to get back to doing it again. But like Fluff just explained all of it, of what the problem is with that form, like the just not eating and then kind of blasting the body right before you go to bed. Like there is a problem kind of in that, and just like the biological processes of your body and how they work and how they interplay, what triggers them, what like how things get kind of put in motion throughout the day. So can kind of fuck that over. So that's why you don't want to just like, and even like on another front of like just starving yourself, that also doesn't work for many of the same reasons. Especially because you starve yourself, it puts the body in kind of you pretty much trigger a kind of survival mode for your body, more or less. So that when it does get any kind of calorie, it kind of it hoards it. So your body's like kind of forced to hoard. And then of course bulimia and other eating disorders that get developed with all that. It's not really safe for you. Yeah.
Fair.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that was me searching like different stuff. And then I guess Quora was like, oh.
Well, we got more for you.
How to develop bulimia. Step-by-step tutorial. A lot of people that weightlift or hit the gym pretty regularly will end up developing eating disorders as well.
Really?
Yeah, it's actually, when you take a look at like fitness influencers and stuff like that, it's actually really common because going to the gym can be addictive, right?
Fair.
People will start to see some sort of progress and then want to see more progress, or develop a body image issue and then an eating disorder as a result. There's all kinds of stuff that happens. Even like people like you guys aren't gonna know Sam Rainey, I think is his name. Huge dude. But he's always like, yeah, I just want to be bigger. I just want to get more muscle on. So, yeah.
Like, where's the line between eating disorder and obsession? Or is it like kind of like just two sides of the same coin?
Good question. I am not qualified to answer that.
Like, I mean, just like, is just putting the question out there of like, is it, I guess it will require like the definition of like a more clinical definition of an eating disorder, but it's like, is it that they have an eating disorder, or is it the obsession with getting bigger that kind of causes that?
Like body dysmorphia more.
Yeah. Well, yeah, because body dysmorphia it's a warp in your perception.
Yeah.
Right. So it has to do with how you perceive yourself compared to how others might perceive you, which honestly, I kind of don't really like the diagnosis of body dysmorphia. I think it's really it's kind of bullshit. Because it's so relative. Right? You teach somebody that their body's supposed to look a certain way, then they want their body to look that way. They have an eating disorder, like they have body image disorder, like that's fucking crazy. But
Well, define that one more time for me, real quick.
I was like, so you teach somebody that their body's supposed to look a certain way,
Yeah.
and then when they like try to make their body look that way,
Mm-hmm.
they all suddenly have a body image, disorder. Like
That's not
something
really what
crazy. The crazy label is more like what I would.
Oh, okay, fair. 'Cause I was gonna say that's not really what body dysmorphia is, though, is it?
No, I'm oversimplifying for sure, but I think it's icky. I think the whole like.
I mean, well, there's a whole talk about the societal implications of what causes body dysmorphia.
You guys know that I think this is true that cultures that aren't exposed to our body standards don't have body dysmorphia, or certain. Actually, no, I'm going to say certain eating disorders because I know this is true for certain eating disorders, but I don't remember which specific ones. And then when you start to expose them to American media, you start to see those eating disorders pop up. It's kind of crazy.
Yeah. No, I can 100% believe that. Just given like how uncommon it was for, just historically how uncommon it is for most cultures to have a ideal body type to be as thin as what was like super popularized in like the American 50s and I would say like through the 50s and 90s, even like early 2000s, it was still kind of the thing. Recently, thick bodies have kind of become back in vogue again. But like historically, that like the more ideal body type was on the thicker end, as it was a indicator of a class. Like it was an indicator of you had money to eat, and B, it just meant that you had a more hardier, sturdier body to handle the rigors of day-to-day life.
Which is crazy.
It's crazy. It's almost like it was more functional. Our standards were built on function, not form, and then it swapped at some point with the invention of Hollywood.
Yeah, a lot of people that are in those spheres think that our fat phobia is getting worse, even as we try to push back against it. I'm not really sure how that.
I think it's.
Yeah.
I think I hear that, and I kind of have to go. I think it's in the same camp as people that think racism has gotten worse, and I think it's easy to see that as we see more vocal opposition or people like when you're bringing a lot of these conversations to the forefront. You're now having the conversation, and that means that you're going to have the dissenting opinions that come along with the conversation. It seems like it's getting worse because all voices have now gotten louder.
And there's more media.
There's more attention on it. There's more happening everywhere. Most people now have an opinion and are vocal about that opinion. And so I think that's what contributes to it being worse or seeming like it's worse when it's really like, no, it's now that we're focusing on it, then you're now going to start hearing all the sides of it. But
yeah, I think the voices that I hear saying that are more concerned with like portrayal in media, like in particular, I remember them being upset with,
I bet it was Lizzo. Who?
The Whale.
The Whale?
The Whale. That what's his face got an Oscar for?
I can't think of his name. I don't know exactly who you're talking about. The Guillermo.
Yeah.
Guillermo del Toro. Not Guillermo. Guillermo. I'm thinking of the character from. I'm thinking of What We Do in the Dark. Guillermo del Toro. What is his name?
I'm not going to worry about What We Do in the Dark is also Guillermo.
I want to say they pronounce,
but they pronounce it funny because they're.
Oh yeah. But it was the dude who played in a Fight Club, I believe, and he put on a fuck ton of weight.
Nathan Fillion.
Yes,
and well, in particular, I think it was because of the use of a fat suit.
Oh, it was the use of a fat suit. I thought he just put on weight.
I don't know where that stops and where that starts, but
that's fair.
Yeah. I haven't paid a ton of attention to it, and I'm mostly reflecting on things that the people have been saying. So
fair enough. Yeah. But yeah, it's just I've completely forgotten how we got. Oh yeah, eating disorders. Diagnosis. Okay. Yeah. No.
Speaking of eating disorders, I'm gonna eat up the Sonic movie.
Thanks for that segue. All right, we got a couple.
The segue. See, this isn't necessarily talking about the movie itself. It's more
talking about
just
characters. So so I guess to give some background on this, there's kind of been a movement, especially as it's fucking February, Black History Month. Mm-hmm. There's always a little bit of there's like a thread that goes around pretty much every year for like the past like 5 years of unofficial like characters in anime and other like media that are unofficially black. Mm-hmm. Like Piccolo is an unofficial black character. Darwin the Fish is unofficially black, but is black. They made him black in one of the fucking cartoons where they turned human. His voice actor is a black. Both or all three of his voice actors have been black kids. Mm. Kratos is technically Greek, but it's a black dude. Like he's been voiced by 2 black dudes his whole career. Mm. Like there's a lot of characters about that. I have not watched this video yet. We're about to watch it in a second here. The most recent one that's come up recently because of some news that I should bring up, I just realized, because we have not talked about that on this podcast. I learned about it after we recorded last week.
Really?
There is a new miniseries coming out.
Yes.
Before that.
I did see news on that, actually. We definitely
have you
should talk
seen the
that.
promo trailer for it?
Yeah.
The fucking Knuck If You Buck, bro. Oh my God. Yeah. Oh my God. Okay, hold on.
We need context for this.
We gotta find it. Yeah, no, I was fucking hyped to see that shit. You might not recognize the rearrangement. It's a song called Knuck If You Buck by a rap group called Crime Mob. And it was one of the hypest songs in like fucking mid 2000s. It was a fucking fight song. And to have that, so when the first Sonic movie first came out, back when we had Ugly Sonic, right?
Yeah.
They used fucking Gangsta's Paradise. And that was the weirdest choice to me.
Why? Is there a reason specifically?
I cannot
look it up.
Other than because it sounds kind of cool as a background vocal. I can't. This is going to undercut a whole conversation I had about use of music in like certain movies. But like this one is kind of weird because it didn't even like tonally fit anything about Sonic. It's just Gangsta's Paradise. Like it's okay, you had the whole like chorus thing going on in the background. Why Gangsta's Paradise? But
that's really confusing.
It's really confusing.
I mean, everything about not everything.
The first iteration of Sonic was incredibly
terrible. A lot of things about the Sonic movie was off.
Yeah.
Even after they fixed it, there was still Gangsta's Paradise, and
there was
the whole the partnership with Olive Garden. And
what the fuck was that about?
I don't know.
Yeah, and it was like not Sonic or anything about the fucking chili dog. Like you have a whole franchise you've done shit with. What are we doing? Like,
right. I don't know what happened there. If a ball was dropped or if someone tried something and the other one just didn't pick up the phone. Like, I don't know.
Who knows? Who fucking knows here?
It was very odd.
But fast forward to today, and that's someone on that marketing and PR team needs a fucking raise, because Knuck If You Buck rearranged for Knuckles was the dopest choice you could have made. That I don't know any better like song, because literally the whole song Knuck If You Buck is just about fighting. It is a whole, I will play the song for you later, and we're gonna listen to the whole fucking thing when we're done here. Like the whole song is just about fighting. Who better represents just wanting to fight,
right?
Other than our main man Knuckles here.
When did that song first drop?
Oh, that song was like 2003.
Because I was like, was there any kind of maybe
2003?
It definitely came out later than. Well, Knuckles was Sonic.
Well, Knuckles
3,
was a thing
right?
since like in the 90s.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
Knuckles is a thing.
So it really ain't got shit to do with Knuckles. I don't think they ever created that with that in. Like, as a matter of fact, they have a video game character referenced in the song, and it was Johnny Cage from Mortal Kombat. So clearly, Knuck If You Buck by Crime Mob.
So they dropped the ball once with the character.
2004. I wouldn't say that.
With the character reference to the first time.
Okay, 2004. I wouldn't say they dropped the ball. I think that's a fucking dope choice. That's a really smart choice to make for a miniseries.
Oh no! I'm saying like the first time when they when they by referencing Cage instead of Knuckles the first time.
Well, Crime Mob ain't got shit to do with video games. Or
I don't know. If you're gonna mention a video game character, mention the one that is directly
jumping off from on the stage, throwing bows like Johnny Cage.
Okay, that's pretty fire. That rhymes. Okay.
I gotta play this song for y'all later. We'll get into it in a second here. But all of that to say, so that piece of news was spawned off what we were originally getting to. Of Knuckles is considered one of the like unofficially black characters in media. Like the dude has dreadlocks. Like there's spines, like they're spines and quills and shit, but they're very much fashioned out of like dreadlocks. And then having Idris Elba be like the official movie voice for Knuckles, like just like so we're now about to watch this video and see what's being said, because I get the sense I know what this is about, but we'll see. Where's the mute button? Why do they keep moving it? Okay, like, and she got a hell of a point.
Yeah, I think mentioned here, she's about to mention, like, she said it, but she showed a picture of the actual original voice actor, I guess, for Sonic.
Does she?
Yeah, who was black.
Oh, Jaleel White.
Yeah.
Most people know him as Steve Urkel.
Yeah. Jaleel White. He voiced English Sonic for 7 years. And why is that important? Because yes, he's a blue hedgehog, but there's your cultural tie. There's a reason why Sonic is so in-depth into the black community. Why he's a good classic. And we're not talking.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So like, she absolutely has a point, and it is so. And kind of like we were just saying about how it seems like topics become a little bit worse because they're now like much more talked about. When came the whole like thing of unofficial black characters, came a lot of vitriol about complaining that people consider these characters black. And you see a lot of like dissenting opinion of like, they just don't like it. My personal favorite is why does everything have to be about race? Oh, shut the fuck up. Because it is almost just about everything is about race, unfortunately.
It's already about race. You just don't notice.
You just never noticed it.
Because it's already catered to you.
Exactly. But like, it's what she's speaking on is absolutely the thing of like, there's a reason most stories historically, especially Western stories, rarely ever like include a straight up black person unless it takes place in rural South. And that's because all of your black and non-white and other representation was always some kind of allegorical to some degree.
Yeah. And continues to kind of sort of be,
and continues to be that.
Strangely enough. Well, I guess I can't say strangely enough.
Right.
It's just been a thing that's constantly been happening.
Both really cool and really fucked up.
Yeah.
Because like finding representation in characters that aren't explicitly racialized or maybe subtly racialized in such a way that like a mainstream audience isn't going to a mainstream audience, that a white audience isn't going to like notice or give a fuck about is really cool. It's a very interesting way to subvert things. But it also kind of sucks because
that you have to continually subvert it this way.
It sucks that you have to subvert it that way. And it also tries into some of the shittiest, it's not even trouble, some of the shittiest, like blatantly racist things like phrenology and eugenics and like treating other races as subhuman or more animal-like, which is not great.
No.
But yeah, I don't know. I think it's fascinating because
it is.
I was very recently introduced to this concept via Hermione.
Really?
Granger. Yeah.
Oh yeah, you've been listening to your.
Yeah, because a lot of people read Hermione as black, and I was like, huh, that's kind of cool.
That's interesting. Yeah. But yeah, it is. I don't know who the fuck pissed her off, like who specifically like made her mad, but. That was a cool video. We do have another one by her to watch here.
This one I think is a little more on the funny satirical side, but it's still
Shadow is the embodiment of all those white boys that he's Jack Harlow, he's Nick Jonas, like completely acceptable into black communities, but he has red flags that's kind of like when he was like, you disgusting black creatures. You ever heard Sonic say some crazy shit like that? No. Cloned a basic black man and literally made him black.
Y'all don't ever sit here trying to tell me that about
But like
I gotta play Shadow the Hedgehog.
Yeah. Like I haven't really thought about it until I watched this video and I'm like, I never.
Yeah, no, Shadow ain't black for shit.
Yeah, that's like one thing that I guess I just never really thought about, like who voices these characters and
right.
whether or not, they're black, white, Latino, whatever. Right. Like I just never really thought too hard about it. And now I'm like, you know what? Actually though.
Like that kid, like
she got a
point. But like the thing to understand, the thing I want to make abundantly clear to anyone that happens to be watching this and is going to try and comment some stupid shit, it's all in fun, bro. Like this whole what character is black or what characters are white, like even including like the historical precedent of using characters as stand-ins, like the shit that we do is people just having fucking fun. And to get fucking butthurt that other people are having fun in a way that you deem uncomfortable is the fucking stupidest shit. But with that being said, like using like, of course, like who voices a character doesn't, like there's plenty black characters that are voiced by white people. There's plenty white characters that are voiced by black people. It really just comes down to what's the best voice for the character at the time. Right. But the conversation's fucking fun to have sometimes. That's really what it comes down to.
Well, it's all readers in the tense of like the literary, everything's a text sense, but like it's all up to like reader interpretation. Right. Like it's just an interpretation. It's a way to read the character. Ooh, Andromeda. If that makes you uncomfortable, you should really take a look at yourself. And
you should go touch grass.
You should go touch grass. You should be like, black people having a fraction of a thing. Right. Why does that make me uncomfortable?
Why does this make me so uncomfortable?
Yeah. Like
a lot of things it comes down to, you're so used to having it all that someone having a little bit more is. Here's the fun part of here's how you find out that way more people have autism than they let on that you would ever find out. Because the second something changed, you had so many people just so upset about shit just being different. And it's like, that's because you motherfuckers are autistic and y'all have just been stigmatizing it for so goddamn long. There's just entire generations of autism running out there that no one knew about.
Entire generations of diagnosed autism. That's so funny.
Oh my God.
Yeah, some of the comments on both of these videos are pretty funny though.
Shadow like Eminem, he white, but we respect him too. Oh man.
And then you got your people who are like, calling Shadow white is the most blasphemous shit I've ever heard in my life. Shadow is literally a black Air Force. Silver is white for sure. And Sonic is light skinned.
But Sonic is straight up light skinned though. That is a nigga from a middle class household. I gotta see her res, because what do you mean Hinata is black to her, but Shadow isn't? What the hell?
Wait.
What?
Where's that video?
She said, I was a very timid black girl that was easily nervous in big crowds. Like, she literally had a just for me horrible cut perm. Oh God!
And you guys believe themselves to be better than everyone else, but still fighting and clashing amongst themselves.
It's some black shit, bro.
Yo,
I gotta watch more of this girl. Oh man,
yeah.
OTPJoker, y'all, on Instagram.
Yeah,
go follow her because she is so unhinged in the best kind of way. The just for me perm. If y'all know what that just for me perm is, fucking sound off in the comments. Oh, God damn.
Yeah, the comments on the other video are good too.
Yeah, a lot of people consider Shadow to be black, and I really think that's really just y'all thinking too in the box, man. Y'all thinking because he had black fur that was just it. Blasian.
TMNT Ben Black. As far as Sonic, I always imagine him Blasian. Now Knuckles,
that's a nigga. And then here's that fucking comment it's a cartoon character who actually gives a damn. People that enjoy having fun, motherfucker, like shut up. Vegeta profile always being real. You didn't care if Vegeta is Latino and bisexual.
People start clowning on him instantly.
Knuckles' locks a tribe and born on an island. Seems Kanika enough to me. Kniga. Holy shit.
Yo. Oh, that's funny.
Like the audacity to hear what she just said, like to listen to this fucking video, which is how we know we didn't listen to the video. I know y'all ain't bringing race into cartoon characters, bro, with the fucking dead emoji. It's like, yeah, I know you didn't listen to the fucking video she just said, because that comment is wild as fuck. You didn't watch the video. You don't know what a headcanon means.
Yeah, this is your community right here.
There it is.
Oh my gosh.
Since we given our opinion on what we think the character is, then Sonic is Latino, spiky hair and runs fast. Sounds like a bean boy to me.
Oh my god!
Like just
wow.
Pinto Beaner is the name. Yeah, we're just gonna put you on blast, bro. Let's see here. Let's look up some mid podcast sleuthing here.
One post.
Of course, a fucking Bible verse as your goddamn. I'm sure Jesus loves you. What is this Bible verse? Let's see what this says. I will instruct you and teach you in the way you should go. I will counsel you with my open eye. You know, Jesus said to go be racist as much as you can. I'm sure. Yeah, don't hide your shit.
You ain't got shit for shit.
I've been funny for 24 years. No, you haven't.
But yeah, no, she's got some funny stuff, and she a lot of her content is along the same lines. I haven't gone through all of her videos, but like she's great.
They don't know anyone Japanese. Clearly, their opinion of Black Americans isn't good. Their opinion of, I'm not even gonna get into this right now because it's just gonna make me mad. So he's Japanese, you know, because just, you know, Japanese people, they don't know nothing about the outside world.
Mm-hmm.
That's my spicy take. The Japanese don't know nothing about
they're also a monolith.
They're just a monolith of people that only know about themselves. Yeah, you black folks, how do you like that? Shut up. Oh my fucking Lord. But they love coming out the fucking woodworks.
Mm-hmm.
They do love. I just love that every time there's like some overly like clearly alt-right racist, there's gonna be a Bible verse in there somewhere, and I just want to go like, you know, you're not getting into heaven, right? Mm-hmm. Like you are quite literally the people Jesus spoke against, but
doing the opposite of what you think you're doing.
Mm-hmm. Evangelicalism, and you know,
I'm gonna show that Jesus loves you by hating your guts.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my!
By hating and oppressing you.
Hating and oppressing you. That's what Jesus told me to do.
Mm-hmm.
Oh man!
And then I got one more quick thing.
Such a particular perversion of Christianity. Anyways,
we can have a whole conversation.
Yeah, you really can. And I'm still formulating my opinions.
That's fair.
Fair enough. But no, one more quick thing too that I just didn't put anywhere because I don't have any images or video or nothing. But I did try the Apple Vision Pro.
Really?
Yeah.
What you think of it?
It was actually pretty cool. I didn't get to spend a whole bunch of time in it, and it was today actually earlier.
Nice.
And it was only for like 5 minutes, but it is actually really, really comfortable.
Really?
And light, obviously, since it's not metal, it's like
it's made plastic.
But super light, really comfortable, and surprisingly, I guess not surprisingly, because it's, I guess Apple has, you know, their brand and what they've been built off of, convenience, but and user experience, but really advanced and cool. It's like best pass through, right, that I've seen in any headset. And like people were saying it's pinpoint accurate with like the whole spatial tracking and everything. It is 1,000%. It is crazy.
Really?
How real stuff feels in there. Yeah. I only spent like 5 minutes in there, and I think a lot of like at least I say the tracking, I mean like the spatial placement of like panels and stuff that you're using, like when you stick it there and you're moving,
It
like
looks like it's actually
it does not move anywhere.
Yeah,
And-
shit. The MetaQuest is pretty bad at.
yeah.
Well, it's not pretty bad. I shouldn't say that. It is. It's really good at it, but not good enough to make it feel great.
Yeah.
Right.
The amount of times I'll like take the headset off and put it back on, and suddenly it's like fucking 50 degrees away,
Mhm.
or like you move your head and it wiggles a little bit. It just
Yeah, no, they got that down pretty much to an art. Because
Yeah.
I mean, all the multiple cameras and the inside eye tracking shit too is nuts. I wasn't able to get the eye tracking to work exactly because I think the person who calibrated the headset, it was calibrated to them. So it's that's another thing though, is it's very
Personalized?
yeah, pretty much like targeted to the person who uses it, right? Like you could, but you would have to basically reset it kind of every time that you hand it off.
So it's not going to be something you're taking to a conference and putting on a like event display with.
No.
It's not going to be easy unless there's a certain way you can toggle like certain, features to not, read too much into like some person's eyes or something. And this could be because I had it on wrong. There was nobody there to like help me put it on. I just like put it on myself and
some unknowns.
Yeah, essentially. But basically it was like calibrated to somebody else's, eyes and everything. So it wasn't reading my face like it should. So I can't, talk or speak on how a lot of the experience probably was. But again, just by putting it on and just looking around and trying to activate and move what I could, it's really impressive.
Fair enough.
I was really surprised. And yeah, I can't wait to see what else happens moving forward because, but yeah, a lot of people just thought it wasn't going to be a great product, but I see that this could go somewhere if they keep developing for it and improving it. So if you ever get the chance, it's pricey right now. I don't think, I think everybody who's done a review on it is like, this shit is expensive. Unless you're really into tech, don't do it right now. But if you're into tech and you are just really curious, definitely get it and check it out because it is very cool.
Fair.
I wonder if that's why it's so high. They're going for like early adopters rather than like the general.
Yeah, it's definitely in the early adopt phase. It feels like because there's not a lot built for it quite yet. Like there's some games that you can play on it, of course, and like Disney Plus is on there, but I don't think there's a lot of other streaming platforms yet on there.
There really isn't because they didn't really there wasn't a lot of lead time as far as I know for outside developers to even get a hold of anything.
Yeah.
Matter like one of my coworkers, his was supposed to come in like Friday, and last we heard was it was supposed to also come in like today, and then it was one of those the tracker just like kind of updated and was like, we'll let you know when it gets there, okay?
Ooh.
Yeah. So he's possibly still waiting. I think we'll hear about it. We'll hear in the morning whether he finally got his or not.
Yeah.
I definitely would be interested in trying it out. I think I have tried out a enterprise grade version of this. I think I told y'all about the Vario XR3 headset, which essentially kind of the same deal, but more in the more towards the VR XR space. The more of like whereas the Vision Pro is kind of they definitely positioned it as a virtual desktop and more for like virtual display and all that fun jazz. The Vario was like positioning itself as a VR entertainment machine. But yes, and I got to say the Vario, like what essentially you got with the Vario, which is essentially the same thing as the Vision Pro. The Vario was $10,000 plus, like $15,000, I think for the XR3, $10,000 for like the less pricey models, but still like crazy expensive. So I do have to say, like, having something that's comparable to that. I haven't tried a Vision Pro myself. I don't know if it's actually comparable. Sounds like it is. Sounds like you had a really good time with it. But being able to have something like that, a $3,500 price point is like, I shit on it a lot, and it is still very expensive.
So you're saying it's very expensive, but they're undercutting their competition still?
I wouldn't even say they're necessarily undercutting. I can imagine that they are hitting the point where they are moving this more towards consumer grade.
I feel like this is just to get the ball rolling and get developers making things. And then the next one is going to be like 1,500. And then
I mean, it's going to be kind of crazy because apparently developing for this thing sucks ass. But
we're about to find out.
It's just an annoying ass process because you have to go
VR
through.
in general is not easy. But what were you going to say? Sorry.
Well, it's the developing for VR as well as also developing for an Apple product is just annoying as all shit.
So many hoops.
So many hoops you have to jump through.
So many hoops. You have to have an Apple device that's just.
And you have to have it. Like literally, my coworker has a Apple laptop, a Apple MacBook that is just for developing.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like when he's developing for that, he can't do crossover shit or because he has to like be away from his main desktop. There's certain like he can't install the version controlling we use. He can't install that on his Mac, so he has to like just do everything separated because we use something called Tortoise SVN. And I guess it just doesn't have a Mac install or something like that, or it's a really weird and confusing process to do that just isn't worth it to do and all kinds of shit. But yeah, so I've been hearing about all of it secondhand. I'm very glad I don't have anything to do with that project.
I mean, I kicked out an AR application for Apple. I got it up on the store actually.
Nice.
A while ago. It's probably taken down by now, but that was such a pain in the ass.
I would imagine.
Mm-hmm.
It was so many. Somebody was to jump through, transitioning over the like the files over to the Apple device, setting everything up with the Apple accounts, and especially for a beginner, knowing the difference between the different like organization, developer, what codes you have to go where. I still don't get it.
That's fair.
I managed to get it done, but if I had to go and do it again, I would be refreshing for sure.
Jesus. And that's the thing of I say this all the time, and I shit on Apple, and I do it mostly just out of the meme of it. But my legitimate complaint with Apple is that it's just too walled gardened. Like it's like the reason Apple products are so high quality and have such a reputation is because it's a straight up just a walled garden.
Mm-hmm.
Like they do not allow you to mess with the internal workings of your Apple devices. And like you take what they give you, and that's pretty much it. And that does make for a really solid product that will last a long time. And I fully get that, but I'd much rather the ease of customization and like modification of a Windows and Android and being able to like the freedom that I have with these devices than dealing with Apple and its walled gardenness. It's great if you don't need to do anything. If you just need that is why it's great for older folks, actually. Like people who like are kind of tech illiterate, it actually works really well for that. It just has an interface that's kind of really well designed for that.
Yeah. Apple is definitely a brand of convenience.
Yeah.
And ease of
Simplicity.
use. Yeah, simplicity.
Yeah. So it's like I have to give it props there, but that same reason is also why I don't really like Apple. But it's to say that is part of jumping through those fucking hoops is because you're dealing with such a like closely guarded like thing that trying to put stuff in there, you have to go through a whole it's like going through goddamn customs. Everything you're trying to put on that device is like
it is. Developing for the MetaQuest isn't much better.
Yeah.
You said it isn't much better?
It isn't much better, but only because it's tied to a Facebook account.
Yeah.
So like to like a personal Facebook account, and
Which
then you need either
sucks.
a payment method or a phone number associated with both the Oculus / Meta and Facebook accounts. It's just
That's like App Lab.
such a pain. And then every 3 months or so they update, and then everything gets disassociated, and you have to go
through that whole fucking process.
Redo everything.
I've been thinking about grabbing a MetaQuest 3, and that's one of the, other than the fact that like I haven't really used a VR headset, and I don't have much of a reason to like if I got a MetaQuest 3 right now, it would be sake of upgrade, but still very frivolous because I have not had the gumption to use a VR machine lately, but also the whole tied with Facebook shit. And it's like, even as someone who uses Facebook, I'm like, I just don't, just on principle, I don't like that. I'm not about it.
Yeah, I don't think anybody liked that when they announced that change. Everybody was like, why?
Like,
why?
Why? Like, what's the point here, man?
Data collection.
Which they could do anyway. Like, just the fact that it's a meta machine, they could probably just do that anyway. Like, but
the fucking avatars are abominable.
oh my god!
And they really want you to have one.
It's like y'all spend how much money for these things to look like Sims 2 characters?
They don't have legs, do they?
And
they do have legs, I believe. They have full bodies.
They do.
Now they do.
So poly. Oh, did they not initially?
They do. They did it. They had a whole announcement about their legs.
Yeah, that was a big
It's a big feature.
They had a whole keynote on that.
And they're such a middling. They're so middling. They have just like the most basic IK and like foot snapping.
Yo,
It's just, it looks like the prototype for like modern video game run animations. What they're like
Prototype for me's.
I was gonna say, do y'all remember
the way I can't, I don't know if I can really accomplish the motion, but the way it goes like,
yeah, it's like, it reminds me of like the games that you would play, like like maybe some Flash games or some stupid games that you would play like on a website where it's like physics based.
Oh,
like,
the hand simulator shit.
Something like that. Like you're controlling the body and then the legs just follow wherever
Yeah.
the body goes.
Oh,
It's,
okay,
Like, all
yeah.
like the legs are all like twisted a little bit. Yeah.
Fucking, I was gonna say,
they really do look a little bit like it's playing Automatic Twister.
So they didn't change the mechanics. They just added legs to the floating bodies. And the legs follow the floating body.
Jesus Christ.
More or less.
It shows too, because that's not how walking works.
No.
They still, I guess they're not gonna give up on that shit no time soon. I was gonna say, it reminds me of.
Well, Zuck's got sunk cost.
I swear to God, I'm going to punch you in the fucking throat.
Yeah, forever hold that thought while we move on to the next segment.
I keep trying to get a thought out, and here comes Fluff.
I did it once too, though.
No, it's okay. It's okay. It's okay.
Are you gonna do it?
No, I know you.
He pulls the mic back, turns it off.
I can't even fucking think of the thought. What was the avatars for Xbox 360? You know what were they called? Doesn't matter what they're fucking called.
Yeah, I don't remember.
But that's what these things look like, though.
Yeah.
Like, they look like those fucking,
Like,
yeah. Like,
I think they just called them that.
I don't
know what else they would call them.
Approaching Uncanny Valley.
Yeah.
Not even, though. It just looks bad. Like, they don't look good enough to be approaching Uncanny Valley. Which is like
good enough.
Unlike their Bitmoji ripoff.
God, yeah. Have y'all
I don't
seen
like those either.
Have y'all seen the avatar for the Apple Vision Pro avatars? The ones where you like scan your whole face and like make an avatar out of you?
Yeah, so
I've seen like this much of it.
So like the FaceTime thing that they do, yeah, I haven't tried it, but it looks kind of crazy. Sometimes I think it depends on who you are, I guess, because like apparently it does like, dark skinned people dirty a little bit with the light, of course. And I think MK HD or whatever his name is did a review on it and was like, yeah, if you're darker skinned, you're probably not going to be super happy about it, but they have options to like adjust your avatar a little bit. But
this year of our fucking Lord 2024, you can't tell me that you're still having this hard of a time with like developing, like designing for black skin. Like, that's just laziness now.
It's real dumb.
It's just being lazy now. Like, come on, dog.
Yeah, like there's that problem, and then there's just literally it just doesn't get a good scan of your face, or it does, but it just does not know how to translate that.
Who do we watch last week when we were talking about the Apple Vision Pro? Or 2 weeks ago. But that dude, like his like just a white dude, but his didn't look great either.
Yeah.
What's his name?
Casey Neistat?
That guy.
Yeah. Yep, Casey
Neistat. Like that's it ain't looking great. But
yeah, I mean it's definitely,
I guess for something that is
cool.
actively scanning your face, especially because it's getting its whole scan data from just the headset itself.
Yeah.
Or do you know if you use your phone to do the scan? I think you might have to use like a.
It uses all the scanners on the inside, which it's cool. It's very cool, but the results can vary. The results can vary. You might get something that looks really close to you, like Marquise in his review. It was pretty close. He had to do some skin adjustment, but his was pretty close, as well as some of the other people he was talking to on FaceTime. Like, they were pretty close. And again, pretty impressive, but still there were some things off about it. Again, I don't think there's anything out right now like it. So, saying that it was great or amazing maybe isn't the case, and maybe it's just the best we have right now.
So that's another thing that screams early adopter to me, because it's not good enough for general consumption, I don't think. I think it's really fucking cool if you like the technology, because there's nothing like it. There's nothing even close to it right now, at least now that I'm aware of.
Now that's available for consumer purchase.
Yeah. But it's also not quite there.
It's not there to like really capture a audience right now.
And it doesn't solve a major problem.
They really don't.
I think it's there to be a cool little thing.
It seems like a very futurist concept. Like, it seems very much like somebody was like, I want to, when you go back to the 80s and you think about what technology would be like in the future, I want to make something like that. I don't know if that's their inspiration or not, but
it's the first stepping stone on the way to the eyes.
Oh God. The day that we just get implants or completely just replace our eyes with Apple product.
Yeah, forget eyes. They're just a screen is our face now. Just a whole LED thing that's just hooked straight up into our brain.
I only date boys with gold plate screens.
Oh God, imagine in the dating landscape when that shit takes off. There's already like a divide between if you have an Android phone or Apple phone. And it's a fucking real thing. Like you will, the amount of times I've gotten like someone just stopped talking to me because I had a fucking Android. They found out I had an Android. Is like, you can't be serious, but okay.
I feel like that's more of an Apple person thing.
Oh, it is. It is.
There's that weird elitism thing that Apple users have for whatever reason.
Because that's how Apple positioned itself for the longest. Like, Apple positioned itself in the exclusivity space. It's very much like a Rolls-Royce thing of its whole marketing. Well, not its whole thing. Like, in more recent years, it's kind of embraced more of that, just convenience and ease of use. But there was a long time where Apple was very much if you have an Apple, you're the in crowd now.
It's a class thing.
It's a very classist. But yeah, but sweet. I don't know if there's ever going to come a day where I get to play with an Apple Vision Pro. To do so would require me to fly to North Carolina, because that's the only person I know with one. Or maybe they'll have them in the Apple Store. But then that means I have to put my face in the thing that other people have been putting their faces in, and I don't want to do that. But yeah, we'll see. I am curious to see where this technology goes and kind of if this kicks something off. Because I think like I said, Google tried it with Apple Glass of getting something that's much more AR oriented.
What was the Sony's?
Sony had something?
Sony had like a pass through, like a augmented reality. Wasn't it Sony?
I have no idea. I don't recall anything Sony related, but I'm not going to act like I keep an ear to this radar very often.
It was like,
I know there was like something called Magic Leap.
That was hand tracking software though.
It was old.
Was it?
Old. It was like right after maybe like the Oculus had come out.
Oh, so that would have been.
Maybe it wasn't Sony. Who am I thinking of?
It could have been Sony.
I don't know.
Well, I mean, I know there was Oculus and there was like Vive, but that's just a that's a VR.
HTC Vive headset.
Are you talking about the HoloLens?
Yeah.
Oh, Microsoft.
Oh, Microsoft. Okay.
Yeah. Actually, yeah, they were. Actually, yeah. What the fuck happened to HoloLens?
I don't know. I actually never did anything with HoloLens.
Neither have I.
I've never even seen what it looks like.
I remember they did like one conference and they did the whole like turning your whole room into like the game or some shit.
Yeah.
And then I heard nothing else. I think it did eventually become a thing.
I think Ferris had one.
We have one.
Yeah,
We
Ferris
have
did have one. But I've heard literally nothing about it since.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think if anyone can kick off a development race, I think it will be Apple.
I think it's already
especially-
started, honestly. Even though it's
Right.
we haven't really seen maybe a whole bunch of stuff starting. The fact that
Well, the fact they put out a product is all that's needed right now.
Valve has been cooking for years
Yeah,
on their next headset, so that's probably going to come out soon.
very likely.
is it just going to be another VR or are they going to do AR stuff?
Nobody
great
really
question.
knows,
Yeah,
but it's looking like it's going to be like higher end.
Valve stuff is so unpredictable.
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
We'll see. Because I mean, even the MetaQuest and its whole like pass through, like was a big selling point. The MetaQuest 3.
Yeah,
Kind of
MetaQuest
a
3
point.
pass through is pretty nice. It's not. I haven't been in the Apple Vision Pro, but it's barely usable. I would say in terms of like it has color,
Which is
you
always
can if you have like a scrawled large letter note, you could read it.
Nice.
Mm-hmm.
But the definition isn't to a point where you feel like you're actually in the environment. It's not quite to the point where I would like consider making AR applications for it. Personally.
Fair enough.
yeah.
I guess. Sorry, go for it.
I was just gonna say I've been in the Quest 3 because we have that at my job too. I've been in it for a little bit, and yeah, it has way better pass through than like Quest 2, Quest 1, of course.
Yeah.
But the difference between that and the Apple Vision Pro is drastic. Actually,
Okay.
I can see how people can put on the Apple Vision Pro and just be immersed. It's wild. And like those videos that we were watching last week where he was just like walking around town
Mhm.
and I'm like, okay, how could you be in front of a screen like that? Like with the pass through that I had in my mind to like the Quest 3, I was like, I couldn't do that.
Yeah.
Fair.
That would be impossible. But after putting that on and seeing it, and maybe it didn't help that when I put it on for the first time, it had the cover on it. And I was like, why is everything black right now? It's on, right? And my coworkers were like, dude, take off the cover. I was like, oh, the cover? They're like, yeah. And I took it off and like,
All of a
I
sudden,
was
the
like,
world was there.
whoa. Like this.
You emerged
It's
from
passed
Plato's
through.
cave.
Nice.
Yeah, it's nuts.
Okay. Well, I mean, shit. I am kind of curious to play with one now and just see what it's like. But I think just because pass through does still seem to be a pretty important selling point for even the other VR AR headsets, I can see this definitely kicking off a bit of an arms race or a technology race.
Yeah.
That could be great, could be kind of ultimately pointless in the end. Who knows yet?
Valve.
Well, everybody got real excited about the metaverse, and then they realized that
Did everybody get real excited about the metaverse, or did Facebook just keep saying everybody was excited about the metaverse?
No, well, because Facebook kept saying everybody was really excited about the metaverse, people were talking about the metaverse, and people were conning people with the metaverse.
Yeah.
And
Because I don't remember a day I was ever excited about the metaverse or any like average.
I'm not accusing you. I'm talking about when I went to Tarrasques University.
Oh yeah,
And like the amount of people there that were like metaverse.
yeah.
How long ago was that? Like
This would have been 2 years ago, I think.
Oh yeah, I mean Facebook dropped that. I was gonna say banger, but I'm like, it really wasn't a banger.
It wasn't a banger. They hyped it up to be a banger.
Yeah, the context that I was trying to suggest was not suggesting that it was a good video that they put out. It was a video that they put out that tried to get across like all the cool things you could do in this like metaverse and stuff and be like, you know, whatever. That that was a big conversation starter.
Are you ready for Ready Player One, but for real?
Pretty much. And it's
No,
like companies didn't know what to do with
Are you ready for Ready Player One, but it's real and sucks?
It's
Well, there were a
real and
couple
even
things.
worse than the implications of Ready Player One.
Yeah. I mean, because there were a couple things that came together. One, the metaverse was such a nebulous idea that nobody fucking knew what they were talking about.
We're going to create a game of the metaverse.
What? Everybody's like, what?
Metaverse was as well defined as fucking NFTs.
That's all people really connected the metaverse with.
It was just NFTs and shit.
Apes, NFTs, metaverse.
Yeah.
Bitcoin.
Yeah. I mean,
Crypto.
it was all the tech bros were in the same shit at the same time. Like,
And it was all shady.
Yeah.
All of it.
it was so shady. I mean, if I had a quarter of the balls of those people, I'd be in a tech company like, yeah, we're interested in leveraging new technologies, like blah, 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 talking off my ass about shit that doesn't exist.
God.
But like,
Remember the whole like fucking era of us like coming out of college in which you just had to keep dodging job posts by just looking for the word metaverse in their goddamn posting.
Yeah.
well, like the metaverse, I think personally, is coming. It may be 20 to 30 years. Like,
So you mean like Ready Player One, not like Facebook's metaverse?
yeah, I think that the only reason we're even calling it metaverse is because fucking Facebook put as much marketing shit behind
To
it.
get it called metaverse.
But the concept of the metaverse is just the same as the concept as a fucking web page.
Well, I mean, it was, yeah.
Like, it's the dumbest shit. It's just a web page that you do in VR.
I was going to say it's just VR chat that had Facebook money thrown at it.
Yeah.
I think honestly, I think you're vastly overestimating that 20 to 30 year mark. I see this as becoming like a major thing within the next 10 at max years. In the next 7 to 10 years.
Yeah, just looking at like the trajectory rather of like how technology has advanced in the past 2 decades, right? 3 decades, I guess. And I did a presentation on this to some high schoolers that I got asked to come in for essentially. But it was like, you know, you had your like mail and stuff, and really you see the trend in when it comes to communication and how people communicate with each other, right? You have your mail, your mail letters back and forth, right?
Yeah. Snail mail.
Right. And then you started to get phones becoming a thing, right? First there were these like big, clunky things that
you wound them up to use them and you got to patch through an operator.
Yep. And then they started getting smaller and smaller and smaller. And then you could take them places in the car. Now it's in your pocket. And all that
getting bigger for some reason.
Yeah, now we're going kind of reverse a little bit. But like all of that happens in like 5 to 10 years from going from like having a big clunky phone that you didn't want to bring anywhere to something that you can slip out like a BlackBerry, right?
Yeah.
And that was big.
Yeah.
Right.
That was the thing for the longest time.
Right. And that, again, that was a communication thing. That was social, right? And that's where it hit first. Like you're going to be able to talk to your friends, your family, anywhere now. And then it was like, okay, now you can do other stuff with that. So,
I mean, if you just look at the span of human history, you can see how exponential the leaps and bounds of technology advancement has been when you just look at the last 100 years of like human history and where we've gone. We went from like discovering and how to harness electricity to cars in some people's lifetime. Like
back in like 1200, it would be like it used to take like hundreds or thousands of years for things to change. So like, changes were viewed as like just temporary disruptions. And now change is just like a trajectory that we're on.
Right.
Something my marketing professor used to love to say is, I don't know if I'm going to misquote him here or not, but that we double our technological capacity something like every 6 months.
Right.
Like we are advancing more and more rapidly, and the things we can do are becoming crazier and crazier. Every time a new technology comes out, we have to figure out how we relate to it and how it relates to us in our lives.
Right.
Like the first time that, you know, the record came out, right?
Yeah.
Like the crazy thing about a record is that you now had this physical copy of audio, right? That was portable. You could take anywhere. It could replay anything. And at first people were like, what the fuck do I need that for?
What is this witchcraft?
I'll just go to a town square. You know, I'll hear that shit there. I can just talk to my friends and family, right? Which originally people thought they were going to use it as personal recording devices, like for your office, right? Until women were like, you mean I can listen to music while I'm cleaning the house?
Yep.
That sounds pretty cool. And then it became a huge thing because we figured out how to take advantage of that. And there's a lot more like philosophical discussion behind the things I'm trying to get at here, but I can't remember the specifics. But VR is currently, I think, undergoing this transition where we are figuring out how we're going to take advantage of it.
Yeah.
And like how it's going to change, right? Our lives. That's what people mean when they talk about the metaverse, is they think that's what it's going to be. And we really have no way of knowing that. I think some versions of the metaverse make sense because of our consumerist culture, right?
Yeah.
Like being able to pop on a headset and like actually look at a physical object that's a representation of something that you want to purchase.
Yeah.
I think would be really cool. Being able to pop in a headset and have a conversation with somebody like they're sitting in the same room, even though they're thousands of miles away.
I was going to say the next logical step from virtual communication is virtual interaction. Which so it makes total sense that this is going to become a thing. Sorry, I'm gonna let you finish.
No, I mean, you cut me off at an excellent time because I was running out of things to say.
Like I tell people a lot that we've already been in the metaverse more or less. Like it's been a thing. The metaverse, it's been a thing. It's been around for a good while. It's just evolving. Yeah. Right. And undergoing a new form of medium. Right. And
I really want us to change the name.
Yeah. This largely a lot of it is just no one likes the association of Facebook.
But it was like, phones, then video calls, and then virtual, like COVID forced all of us to go into video calls for a while. And now a lot of companies are just like, hey, this works better for us. Work from home. Virtual meetings now. You don't have to come into the office. Everything's virtual. We're cool.
There's a lot of shit I think I would like to see change before we get to that point too. Like, I would like to see better protections over data privacy. Because can you imagine how much more data there is to get from you when you're existing in a purely digital space and interacting with stuff? They're tracking your eyes, your
quite
hands, a bit, like your entire fucking body, your heartbeat, right? Like everything that you're doing is you're interacting in the space with stuff. They'll be able to tell if you have a crush on somebody before you even fucking realize it. Like,
that feels great.
And like, I want to see better protections for that stuff. Because I don't know about you guys, I've come to realize that we're currently being mined like a natural resource for companies. That was a weird thought. And it came. What's going on?
Yeah, what the hell was that?
I still hear it.
Somebody driving past.
I still hear it. I don't know what that is.
Sorry, y'all probably can't hear this. There's like random music bumping through here somewhere.
It sounds like someone's scooching a chair and then rocking it, and then scooching a chair and then rocking it.
I don't like that idea, and I really would prefer it to be about music because I don't want to have to think about the thought of this house being haunted right now. Yeah, Kingz HQ might be haunted. We'll see.
Maybe.
New segment? Question
New
mark?
segment?
Of our haunted house.
See y'all in the new recording space next week.
Which
I'll
is
get a little electromagnetizer.
Ruben ain't gonna be here.
not today.
All right. Well, to move us off this topic, because we've been going for a minute now, and I think we're getting pretty close to. Because what is the current recording at?
140.
Oh, and that's the second recording.
Yeah,
I think we went for like a good
so
20-ish,
56 overall.
Okay, we're not doing too bad then.
Yeah. I think that's a good segue though.
Yeah, I think the end point is I think all of us have like a vested interest in seeing where this kind of thing goes. It's going to be very interesting to see what form it takes, as well as the race by every company, because at this point Google can't take this line down. Google has to come out and do something with Android or partner with somebody,
or accept defeat.
And I don't think that's going to happen.
I will accept defeat.
We know you will, you fucking freak.
Just like Microsoft basically accepted defeat in the console wars.
Pretty much, yeah. Well, I don't even know if they accepted defeat. I think they just kind of realized there was no great reason to keep putting resources into fucking Xbox when... I mean, I guess it still makes sense, but at this point, you can get a decent enough gaming PC for the same price as an Xbox, and it's just much easier just to release your shit on your fucking machine. Well, to bookend this whole like technology discussion, something that kind of came up, I do want to end off with is, do y'all like when we were talking about just like the technological advance in the last like 100 so odd years, like, do y'all know that like Henry Ford existed at the same time as Martin Luther King, which isn't incorrect.
I was going to say,
which actually isn't incorrect, but he existed at the same time as fucking Abraham Lincoln.
Wow.
What?
Lincoln died when Henry Ford was 2 years old. Like, they exist in the same time, like within like the same time period to some
Why
degree.
does that feel incorrect?
It feels so incorrect, doesn't it?
Huh.
Henry Ford was born 1863. Ford was Lincoln was killed 1865.
Wow.
Yeah. And like that just kind of came up because it's like the guy who invented the first like mass produced automobile also existed at the same time, like at least was like had a crossover existence with Abraham fucking Lincoln, and that doesn't feel correct. But it is. But like that really like kind of hits home the point of
racism gone.
that like hits the point of like how quickly technology changes, right? Like and just like the advancement of technology. But we have been going late and long enough. It is almost 1 a.m. Let's finish this off with some manhwa.
Yes,
first one we got up is Peerless Dad. So, Ga Zhong-no is a strong, dedicated, and humble man with much respect for the martial arts. After the death of his lovely wife, this muscle for hire just wants an easy job that allows him to be a good father to his 3 little babies. He's even happy to pull guard duty and fend off amateur fighters if it means he can return home safely each night. But when a creepy cult starts stealing children from the city, Ga Zhong must step up to the challenge and discover the true warrior potential. Fluff, what this be?
This, if you've been reading manhwas and stuff for a while, you've been probably familiar with this one. This one was a classic. It is really fun to read. The dad's like relationship and dynamic with his kids is really cool. You get to watch them grow up as it goes on. The story, I would say, is pretty damn good, but I need to go back and reread it because there's some stuff that I was confused about, but I think it was because I wasn't as familiar with the genre.
Fair enough.
Because it deals with the cultivation system that they use. Their martial arts systems are a little bit wishy-washy, and at some points it's kind of unclear what he's doing and why. But overall, it's really fun to watch this dad care about his kids and kick ass.
Hell yeah.
You know, this is genre fiction, so you always love to read it for like those little changes. And this is like anything that explores a relationship between like a parent and their kids. That's one of my favorite ways to like put in like little variations. and have like great little moments. This one I would put at an 8.5 to 9 out of 10. It's really fun read. I would highly recommend it.
Oh yeah. Does it play more into I just see comedy and slice of life in its tag description? Does it play more on the lighthearted side of stuff, or does
it starts out that way and it kind of ramps up as it goes on?
Okay. Okay. Well, nice. Only 292 chapters. That's not too bad. Just from what I've seen of manhwas, it's pretty easy to binge manhwa actually. There's one I really want to read called Please Give Me the Pacifier. Have you seen that one?
I have not.
Like looking at this fucking, and I don't even know why this caught my eye the way it did, but looking at this this cover and this title, like then I read the description, I was like, that actually seems kind of interesting. Betrayed and executed by her pupil, Magicia Hella Salopia finds herself in the body of the neglected infant granddaughter of a rivaling nation's duke. To make matters worse, her family doesn't remember her name and the maids don't care what happens to her. But when she discovers that having her pacifier in her mouth can expand her mind, Hella uses that to her advantage to survive, get rid of those who stand in her way, and start plotting her revenge. Will Hella succeed, or will she wish she'd never been given a second chance? Like, that's all I know about this. It's another villainous story, basically.
I'm reading it.
Hell yeah. Like that description coupled with this cover art and the thing, like just as a description, like that seems like a really fun concept to me, and I really want to read it. So yeah, I might go through this with you, Fluff. We might have something to talk about next week. But that's just a little bit of a side. We got one more manhwa to talk about.
This is a manga
to talk about. Hey, Tensei Shitara Kindashita, or otherwise Reincarnated as a Sword. Whoa.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
No shit.
Yeah.
Oh. Hell yeah.
Yeah, wait a minute.
We were watching this anime for.
We watched this anime. Did we finish up with it?
I don't remember.
Kind of just fall off. Either way,
It's still releasing stuff, dropping
so.
chapters and stuff.
Yeah, it's on the other one though. It's on. What's it called? It's got a monkey on it.
Bobby Badass.
High Dive.
Oh, never mind.
Oh yeah, I know. Okay.
It's on High Dive. The
streaming service.
Yeah, this one is one I deeply enjoy whenever it comes out.
I really enjoyed the anime when we watched it.
Yeah. It's very like guy gets reincarnated as a sword. Sword becomes super badass, and then he pairs up with this little he rescues this little girl, and he becomes her. Like,
by the way, him being reincarnated as a sword, the least important part.
It
of this
really
fucking like they're all you need to know is that he was reincarnated, and that's all they give you about that scenario. I'll read the synopsis right quick before you get too deep into it. When he realized it, the protagonist was in another world. See, like they don't even give him a fucking name. Like he doesn't even have a name because it's the most least important thing ever.
And the backstory is non-existent. It's just when
really
he realized it.
When he realized it, the protagonist was in another world and had become a sword that was stabbed on an altar in a great plain, crowded with devil beasts. The world he was in had a game-like system: HP, MP, strength, vitality, agility, intelligence, dexterity, titles, and equipment. Did you have to list all of that?
Yeah, apparently.
Oh man. Following his instinct as a living sword, he traveled to find the one who could be his wielder until he met with a cat girl that was about to be attacked by a bear-type devil beast. All right. So that's the synopsis that they give on this one, which is that's pretty much the first and second episode of the anime.
It is pretty much. It's real fun. It's
super
fun
fun
to watch this little girl go around whipping ass.
Yeah. I think I would use a different term for that, but
watch this little girl go around kicking ass.
Thank you.
Kicking and with
killing monsters, taking names. Defending justice and goodness in the world and seeking revenge for her race.
Yeah.
Both of us like were actually silent right after he like finished off that sentence. We're like,
yeah.
Justice for our race.
She's a black cat. That's quite literally her thing, though. Yeah. She's a black cat.
She's a black cat. She wants to evolve so she can kick the blue cat's butts.
Yeah.
It's in terms of like quality, It's not the best. It has the vibe of someone started writing this and then they were like, wait, people like this?
It was someone's reincarnated as a slime fanfic. And they made you a sword instead.
And then we were they're like, shit, no, I have to actually put a story in here and I have to keep doing it. Clearly like making it up as they go along. Some of the recent episodes have gotten a little too horny for my taste, but
episodes or episodes?
Like chapters.
Okay.
Chapters.
A little too fan servicey.
Yeah, they bring in these like 3 female adventurers and then put them in maid costumes, and those maid costumes are just lingerie for some of them. But you know, if you could read past that, I think it's a really fun little story. It's worth checking out if you want something lighthearted and some dopamine.
Fair enough.
Overall, I would give it a 6.5 to 7. I think it's pretty high quality, but it's got some pretty glaring flaws. And it's really fun to read. So.
Yeah. Yeah, I fully believe that. Like, once again, I got a chance to sit down and catch the anime with you. That was in and of itself a very fun time. Like, it's straight up just video game systems. It's pretty crazy. But you hit a point that I was finding that more interesting than any story that they were trying to tell. Like, honestly, I just found like the progression system for this sword and like the mechanics of this world more interesting. But it definitely was a fun watch. So I can imagine this is just as fun of a read. Yeah. And yeah, I can, it already got the fluff seal of approval. I can give like a little bit of like an extra thumbs up on that one.
3rd thumbs up.
Oh yeah, you watched something, didn't you?
I distinctly remember like making quesadillas. Wow,
that's right.
Like I don't know why it's a core memory, but it is.
It was one of the first meals you made.
I think it was one of the first quesadillas you made.
Oh, that's probably why.
We watched this a while ago.
Yeah,
that's
like
probably why. Yeah,
we should check and see where we left off and if there was more, because I feel like we stopped because there wasn't more to watch.
Yeah. It left them, but it was also like a weird spot. Like I don't have any fingers in my noggin.
It was weirdly like she was just getting into actually adventuring.
I think she had basically just decided to leave the tutorial town.
Pretty much, yeah. It was like the first time you're stepping into the tutorial. But yeah, no, this definitely was a lot of fun. Can't believe it took us this long to finally get around to it. But yeah, no.
So many gems there are buried.
Yeah. Well, I think we can call that it. I think, a good stopping point.
Thank y'all for listening and watching
once again. Oh yeah, don't do this enough. Like, comment, subscribe, do all the fun housekeeping stuff when it comes to supporting channels that you like. Said it, mentioned earlier, but like
comment, tell me how pretty you think I am.
Actually, yeah, do that.
Him specifically.
Yep. If you tell me I'm pretty, I won't believe you.
Same here.
Am I doing it right?
This
is how the kids do it.
That is how the kids do it these days.
Yeah.
There you go.
Awesome.
I've started like cutting videos up into shorts and all that fun jazz. So keep an eye out for that. TikTok, Instagram Reels, Facebook Reels, YouTube Shorts, all that fun jazz. I'm gonna start trying to upload to that stuff. It is wildly difficult to do captioning and auto-generated subtitles. It's not that difficult. It just costs a lot of money. So keep an eye out on that. Learn how to do that whole process. So we'll see. But yeah. Episode 12 in the bag.
Yes, sir.
All right. Have a good week. Have a good night. Love you guys. Bye.
Bye.
Really should have just said, look, I gotta go take a shit. I'll be right back, y'all.